The other day, my husband got to be a hero. He works in risk management at his bank, and one of the less pleasant elements of his job is dealing with members who've been scammed and defrauded. Well, the other day, he got a frantic phone call from one of the branches that said, a member just cashed an $8,000 check and it has all the signs of fraud. So, you're the expert, tell us what you think. He reviewed the check, and sure enough, it was definitely an internet scam. So, he started looking frantically through the member's records, trying to find some phone number that they could contact the member with, because the member wasn't answering any of the other phone numbers that they had tried. So, at the very end, at last, he found in the bottom of some transaction they'd had with the member somewhere, a little phone number. So, he called the phone number, and the member answered. And he said, you just cashed an $8,000 check. And I'm guessing that along with that check, you received communication telling you to go and keep like 10% of the check and then wire the rest to somebody else somewhere. The member said, yeah. My husband said, if you do that, you will never get the money back. It's a scam. The check that you just cashed is going to come back as being fraudulent, and you're going to be out $7,200. Have you already wired the money? The member said, yes, I have. Actually, I'm just walking out of the Western Union right now. And my husband said, okay, you can stop this transaction, but you have to do it right now. I want you to shout out that you were just the victim of an internet scam and you need to get the transaction stopped. So the member started to panic and said, I need this stopped, and the cashier said, oh, I don't think we can stop it, sir, I'm sorry. So my husband, who was still on the cell phone with the member, said, okay, this cashier is new, she doesn't know what she's talking about, you can stop the check, you can stop the money wire, but only until the person who's waiting for it on the other end comes and picks it up. So your money could completely vanish at any second. You need to get about $8,000 worth of hysterical until somebody helps you cancel this transaction. So the member hung up so he could focus on getting the transaction canceled, and probably 15 minutes later he called my husband back and said, wow, I got it canceled. Thank you so much for stopping me from having this happen. I don't understand how this works and why I fell for this, was basically what he was saying. But the story really brought to my mind this thing that's been coming up a lot. I even received an email from a reader saying that she had, her husband had gotten a mystery shopping offer in the mail, and was it legitimate? And I've seen these same types of questions on Pinching Your Pennies, the couponing board that I moderate. And the thing is, with the holidays coming up and the economy being the way it is, scammers know that people are scared and that people are desperate. And scammers also know that people who are scared and desperate are more gullible and easier to catch. So these scams are becoming more popular and more people are being damaged by them. Most of the time my husband isn't able to get to the members before they make the mistake. And so he's seen single moms and people who are going through foreclosure and little old grandma ladies get scammed out of $2,000, $6,000, $8,000, and it's usually around the holidays when they think that they've found a way to pay for Christmas. It's absolutely heartbreaking. So my goal with this video is to educate and inform, and if it stops even one person from getting victimized like this, then it was totally worth it, which is saying a lot because I've had to make this video 6 times due to technical difficulties. So here's the basic format of the scam. The scammer will contact the victim under some kind of business guise that seems legitimate. So it may be ostensibly for a mystery shopping job. They may be contacting them as a payment processor. They may be contacting them saying that they would like to purchase a service that the person posted on Craigslist. I have friends who posted offers of piano lessons or tutoring or, I don't know, babysitting on the internet, and these scammers contacted them. So it's under some seemingly legitimate business guise. Oh, car sales is another really popular one. And it ends up being something like this. For some reason, there's always some story behind it. The person is out of town, or the car needs to be shipped from out of town, or the person is trying to avoid higher taxes. There's always some complicated story behind it, but the basic thing that the scammer eventually tells the victim to do is this. The scammer sends the victim a cashier's check. It looks legitimate, and it's been specifically designed to be routed to several different bank accounts before it finally comes back as being a forgery. So that sometimes these things take 3, 4, 5 weeks to bounce, but eventually they always do bounce. So the scammer sends the person a forged cashier's check, usually for a large amount, $5, $7, $10,000, telling the person to keep 10% of it or $500 of it as their payment for the tutoring lessons, their payment for the piano lessons, their payment for doing the processing of the payments, their mystery shopping payment, their payment for the car, one way or the other, and then to wire somebody else the rest. So what essentially happens is the person cashes a fraudulent check and then wires the scammer $3,500 or $7,000 or $10,000. When the check comes back 4 or 5 or 1 week later, the person is on the hook for the remainder. It's not the bank's fault. There's no way to catch the scammers. The victims have no recourse. So once they wire the money, unless they're able to stop it at the last second, like this gentleman with my husband was, that's it. The person's out. So if you get an offer that seems just astronomically too good to be true, and I know that on my blog we've talked about offers that are good and people have said, is it too good to be true? And it wasn't, because we knew that our risk was limited. But in this case, your risk is $5,000 or $7,000 or $10,000. Don't get so excited about the prospect of making money that you lose track of this one thing. If someone you've never met asks you to wire them thousands of dollars, that's a bad sign. That's the thing that you need to keep track of. So if you've encountered one of these scams, if you've received something in the mail or something in the email, no matter how professional it sounds or how legitimate it seems, if someone is asking you to wire them money, it's a scam. If you think you have a friend who may be about to be victimized by this, please pass this along. It's heartbreaking to hear these stories, and I want to cry every time I hear of someone like this happening. If we can save that from happening to someone, then we'll kind of have saved someone's holidays maybe. So keep an eye out, be wise, and Merry Christmas.